Hi, in this video we will learn how to secure our application data using object level security. In the relational databases terminology, it's called row-based security. They're basically the same concepts. So for this purpose, we will be creating a new application. It's called object level security. For the subdomain, that's fine. The environment, that's fine. Pricing plan, and finally we will be creating a blank application. Okay, let's go to the application, open the designer. Let's go to models. What we will be doing is the following. We will be creating a users model. Okay, let's quickly create that one. Timestamps enabled. We will be creating the endpoints, each of them one by one. So in this users model, we will be keeping very few fields information. One of them is the email of the user. Actually, I need to put here the email. Sorry. Okay. We will also have the password of the user. Okay, that's it basically. So in this example, there will be two types of users. One of them will be the admin, and the other one the members. Admin will have full control, full access, all the user information, whereas the members will have access to only information related to themselves. Okay, so a member will not be able to see the information of another user, or will not be able to update, delete the information of another user. Okay, so that's how we will be sampling to object level security in this simple application. You can configure the object level security under the application settings, and from the application settings you can select object level security, and in AutoGIG you can configure object level security for three categories of data. The first one is the database. These are your this will show you all the permanent models of your database. In this case, right now we've got just one user model, that's why it's displayed. Then we've got the object level security for buckets and file objects, for cloud storage, and finally for cache keys. Basically, what you do is you specify some expressions as object level security. If the expression evaluates to true, then that action can be done, can be allowed. But if the expression evaluates to false, then that action cannot be processed, cannot be executed. Okay. We will configure all these user-related object level security rules in this example, but let's return back to our model. Then let's go to the endpoints. Let's create two endpoints, one of them for create admin. So create admin. Okay, we will be using this one to create an admin object. Then this will be admin endpoint. Sorry. Then the rooted service will be create admin service. Let's quickly, this one endpoint, this one service. Let's quickly model this one. So in the request body, we will be receiving a user object. First thing we will be doing is we will be getting the body of the request, because as you know, the request can include query string parameters, headers, etc. So we need to get the body of the request, which will be the user JSON object. Then we can create this user object in the database, create single object. The type of the object we are creating is a user, and as an input we are also providing the user object. Then after that one, we also need to create a session for this user. Okay. Then user ID, the user ID will be the ID of the user created in the database. Because this is the object created in the database, I'm moving this one to here. Whenever I move that one, I can access to the ID of the object because it's created in the database. And finally, we will be returning a response. And as a response, we will be returning both the session and also user information. Okay, so that's for create. Okay, so if you click on the database related nodes, you will see that there is an apply rules radio button, okay, on off button. So this is marked as yes, meaning that if we have object level security for create, then that object level security will be executed. That's what this implies. Okay, yes, if I make it no, even if I've got an object level security configured in under my application settings, that object level security rule will not be applied. So let's make it yes. Okay. Then let's move to the second endpoint. Second one will be create member. Okay. Again, this will be a post request, then members, and the rooted service will be create member service. Okay, that's it. So let me go back to the admin one. I just need to make additional check here, additional entry here. The admins will have a role of admin, okay? So I will be just putting here the admin role. If there are more roles assigned to this user, I mean, you can also add that one, like admin, member, or whatever, okay? So we will have an admin role assigned to the admins that are created in the database. Then for the members, let me copy paste this thing. It's Control C. Let's go back to here, paste this thing, or just on here. Then for this one, this will be members. Okay. And for the start node, this will be users. Okay. That's fine. Yeah. Okay, everything is green. That's fine. Okay. Let's go to the tester to create the users objects in the database. We will be creating 3 objects. We will be creating one admin. This will be admin@email.com, and password will be 1 2 3 4 5 6. Copy this thing. Okay, so we've got the session, access group key admin, and also the user object created in the database. Let me pin this thing. Let's create members. Okay, this will be member 1. Okay, as the access group member. And there will be another user we will be creating. This will be member number 2. And this will be the second member. Okay, so let's turn back to here. So what we will be doing is doing the following. We will be creating a endpoint called get users list. Okay, this will be a get method. It will be getting the list of users in the system. So get user service. Okay, this will be also marked as session required. So the user needs to be signed in, have a session token in order to call this endpoint. Okay, that's basically what that means. So let's go to this service, start node. It's a quite simple service actually. Get single object by query, not single object, sorry, get multi objects by query. Okay, sorry, not this one, get multi objects by query. Yeah, this one. We will be getting data from the users model. We are leaving the select query as empty, meaning that it will get all the users, but of course it will do pagination, so it will return the first 20 users from the database. Then response, return success response. Then we will be returning back the list of the users. Okay. And since this is a database node, the apply rules object level security is also turned on for this one. So this is a get operation. So the get rule will be applied. Since we don't have any object level security right now, this will be returning all the user information. So let's run this thing also. It will raise an error because it's expecting a session. So let's put the session token here. This is member 2. This is the member 2 that we created in the database. Okay, and this is the session token for member 2. So if I go to the headers here, if I pass this one, if I run this thing, as you can see, I retrieved all the information in the database. But what we are trying to do is the following. We will be restricting users to view only their data. So if I'm member 2, I need to see only data related to myself. I should not be seeing the other users' data. So how can I do that one? I will go to the object level security. Okay. The rule that we will be applying will be the read object, because get is basically reading data from the database. We will be marking this one as a session required, and what we will be doing is the following. I can only get the data from the database where the user ID is equal to the user ID in the session. So I can only get if I'm signed in, this rule will enforce that I can only get information about myself, the user ID that is specified in the session. So if I come back here, if I run this thing again, okay, as you can see, right now I only see the data associated with me. I don't see the data associated with admin or the member one. What happens if I run this thing using the admin token? Okay, so this is the admin user. Okay, I came back here. This time, instead of the member 2, okay, I'm using the admin token. If I run this thing, I only get information about the admin. Okay, but what we are trying to achieve is that admin can see all user information, right? The admins will not only see their information, but they are also allowed to see information related to the other users. So how can I fix this thing? So it's quite simple actually. I will go back to here. Okay, then we will be adding a condition here, or the admins, to handle the admin case, or what we will be doing is the following. If there's an in function here, okay, the first value it looks after is the an array, so we will be getting the access group, okay, access group keys. And if in the access group keys there's a admin role, okay, then we will allow that users also. Okay, let me save this thing. If I come back here, if I run this thing again, as you can see right now, I can see all the user information, not only just the information about the admin, but also the other users. So let's testing thing again for member 2 to make sure this is a member. So the latest change should not be allowing this user to see. Sorry, I need to copy this one. Sorry, this one. Okay, so the user should be able to see only his or her information. This is member 2. Okay, so let's continue. What else we can do? Let's assume that users will be able to update their, let's say, email address, right? They can change their email address, okay, or password. So let's create a new endpoint, update, let's say update password. Okay, so this will be a put method. This will be users, and there will be user ID. Then the routed service will be update password service. Okay, again for this one we require the session required. Okay, so let's go to the service. What we will be getting is the following as an input: new password. We will be getting the new password as a text value. Then what we will be doing is the following. We will be running an update operation on the database. Update object fields by ID. Okay. So we will be updating the user table. Whose data we will be updating? We are updating the data of the user ID. This is coming from the endpoint path. Then what information we are updating? We are updating the password. What's the new value of the password? This is coming from the query string parameter, new password. Okay. Then as a final step, we will be returning back the updated user information. Okay. This is what we will be doing. So let's go back to here. Let's go to update password. Okay. So if I run this thing as an admin, let me get this one. Let me run this thing as an admin. So I get the data for let's say member 2. This is the ID of member 2. Okay, this one. Then in the parameters one, let's say the password will be 654321. If I run this thing, it will get an error. I will get an error because I need to provide a session. Okay. So the session token I will be providing is the member session. This one, session token. Okay. Then headers, this one. If I run this thing, I successfully updated this one. What happens if I try to update the password for member 1? Okay. I'm logged in as let's say member 2. Can I update the password for member 1? Right now, yes, because I don't specify an object level security, and I didn't do any kind of checks here in my service. So So if I run this thing, I can also update the password of member 1. So I need to prevent this thing. What should I do? Again, very simple. If I go back to here, object level security, this time update, again session required. I can only update data of myself, right? The session user ID should be equal to the ID of the user. I can only update my information, not some other user's information. If I run this thing again, this is member 2 session token, but this is member 1 user ID. So let's see what's happening. As you can see, okay, it cannot able to identify the user object because we've got a object level security, right? We've got an object level security enforced so that it doesn't allow us to change the password. So if I move it back to here, if I again use the ID of the member 2 here this time, if I run this thing again, it successfully changed the password. Let me show you again. If I use member 1, okay, if I run this thing, it doesn't allow me to update the password of member 1 because I signed in as so I signed this as member 2. That's the other one. But we can also allow admin to change the password of the users, right? What we can do is the following. If I come back here, if I can copy paste this thing again, right? Then if I use the password of admin, session token of admin, and put it back here, and if I this is the member 1, right? Sorry, this one is member 1. If I put here member 1, if I run this thing, I successfully update the password of member 1 also. Okay, so this is how you apply the object level security for the update operation. And one final thing I would like to show is the delete, right? Let's assume that we will be terminating our service. We will be deleting our account information. So as a user, I should be able to delete only my account, right? I should not be deleting other users' account, right? The same thing will be applied also in here. So if I come back here, if I create another endpoint, delete user, this will be a delete method, and this will be users, then there will be user ID, then the rooted service will be delete user service. This is again session required, okay? And if I come back here, this is a very simple one, that is single object by ID. This one, users, the ID is coming from the endpoint path information, user ID, then return success response basically. Okay, so let's do the object level security setting also here. The same thing that we are doing here. So I can only delete my information. I cannot delete information about other users, and admin can also delete information about other users. So let's get the token for member 2, session token for member 2. This is session token for member 2. This is delete one. Put here this one, say member 2. Users that, let's get the member 1 ID. So as member 2, can I delete the information about member 1? I should not be, right? Session. Let's go back here. Yeah, even it is returned 200, it couldn't able to find anything in the database, so it didn't delete anything, okay? So that's why I'm still getting the user information. But if I try to delete my information, this member 2, says which one is member 2? This one is member 2. If I delete my information, it will again return 200, but in this case, there is only 2 users, right? So what happens if I use the admin information, admin token? With admin token, I should be also able to delete user 1, member 1. Copy this one here, get list of users. This is member 1, right? If I come back here, as an admin, can I delete member 1? Yes, because I've got the permission to do that thing. So 200, if I get the list of the users, as you can see, I only have the admin information here. Okay, so this is how you enforce object level security in AutoGIC. Typically, you need to use session tokens, and you need to use the roles, access group keys, access groups, in order to customize your object level security rules. By the way, AutoGIC client library, the methods in AutoGIC client library, let me show you, autogic.com. If you go to the client library documentation, as you can see, we got the database here, this object manager 1, get, delete, update, create. So whenever you specify an object security rule in here, those security rules are also applied to the methods that you use in AutoGIC client library. So this create operation or get operation, update, delete, if you got the object level security, let's say, configured, then those rules will be run, will be applied. Okay. And similarly for the query builder, and also for the cloud storage ones, buckets, files, and also for the cache operations like the get, set, delete, and so on. Okay. I hope this helps. Thanks a lot for watching.